So John Chu did an interview about Wicked for Good and why the movie won't show Dorothy's face. And honestly, this is pretty lame.
Hi there, my name is Tori. I'm a Wizard of Oz historian. I saw your video and I wanted to add my 2 cents to this conversation because it's my humble opinion that John M. Chu did the absolute right thing by not choosing to show Dorothy's face, and I'm about to tell you why. Yes, if you missed it, John M. Chu confirmed in Deadline that Dorothy's face will not be seen in Wicked for Good, as he said, quote, "She is a pawn." He went on to say, quote, "I didn't want to step on who you think Dorothy is in whatever story that you came into this with." As you know, if you've been watching my content, I have already seen Wicked for Good at an early screening, so I'm not going to get into the weeds about the details of how we see Dorothy and how much. Let's talk about the idea that it is somehow lame that John M. Chu made this decision. Right, wrong, or indifferent, when it comes to Dorothy Gale, the shadow and memory of Judy Garland looms large. Attempts to distance from this image of Dorothy has proven unsuccessful. Just ask poor Fairuza Balk, who played Dorothy in 1985's Return to Oz. Today we consider this film a cult classic. It's beloved. At the time, unfortunately, it was a flop. And poor Fairuza Balk was dragged in the press for not being Judy Garland enough.
I understand you are really sick and tired of people making comparisons between you and Judy Garland.
Yes, very, very sick and tired. Because I'm not competing with her. She was probably a wonderful lady. Sometimes it's probably hard for people that have grown up with The Wizard of Oz to adjust to a new movie.
John Chu wisely evaded the comparisons to Judy Garland by not showing her face at all.
And actually give that part to them so that way they could blow up into a new star.
To your point that this role could have made an unknown a star, this role is not a starring vehicle. Dorothy is not in the story enough for her to be a significant presence on screen. And to attempt to use this role to make a star of a new up-and-coming actress would have pulled too much focus from the story we're supposed to be focusing on, which is the story of Elphaba and Glinda. Which brings me to your next point.
And it's such a lame way to go about this, especially for a new version of Dorothy in this interpretation of the Wizard of Oz story.
Now, you're not completely off base here. Wicked does take place in the Oz universe. Wicked for Good specifically runs parallel to the story of the traditional Wizard of Oz story that we know. But this is not an interpretation of the Wizard of Oz. Inside of this universe, the story of the Wizard of Oz that we know is actually the propaganda version of what this story is positing is the true story. So in order to show Dorothy through this particular lens, you'd have to show her in a pretty negative light. I'll leave you with this. We see far more of Dorothy in Wicked for Good than we do in the Broadway version of Wicked the Musical. Far more. But to give her the screen time that you're asking for would pull way too much focus from the story that we're actually watching, and I think John Chu made the absolute right decision.